quick booth tour for the California ABAA Fair 2014. I'm going to start with Chris Barron's The Magician in all its glory. 11 different pieces, ranges from letterpress through digital elements, and of course the top hat transformer, which runs the whole piece. All of the book bits fit in the box. It's really just an extraordinary work. Across the top, we have Swimming, Tina Howe's benchmark piece, Isaac Aben's Distant Episode, and Mark Taylor's remarkable new work, one of two, The End is Always Near. There'll be a larger edition, I think, of 10, but it'll be a smaller format than this. Then we have Wolfgang Büttke, Beyond the Wall of Sleep, all hand lettered on the plate, and then etched, etc. Again, Wolfgang's Bartleby. Piece, Red Letter Days, Alton Red Letter Days, Scott Viles Press. The Dayglow Designer Guide with the great serotypes of Marilyn Monroe in it. Binding from Julie Stackpole on the left, poems, and then a new, just stunning binding by Sam Feinstein for Lolita. Two bindings from Sean Richards, both of Eric Gill books, 25 Nudes and Clothes in bindings, as you can tell. The if you will, Gypsy, with Leonard Baskin's work. This is the one that includes the plate that is the frontispiece in all of the iterations, plus the pencil sketch, etc. Lovely. Amy Barezzo's Raising the Supine Dome, sort of exploring the work of Buckminster Fuller. A few other sort of book art pieces on this shelf. Jessica Spring's Girl in the Moon on the right, a collaborative piece between Alison Hildreth and David Wolfe Editions for Baudelaire's Le Voyage, and then some a beautiful little Kent bibliography. And then on the bottom shelf is Diane Jacobs' Reparations. Brilliant piece. Continuing on the bottom shelf is a representative sample of about 650 pop-up books from the collection of Nicholas Basbanes. Above that, the entire print run of the West Coast punk journal classic Search and Destroy. Above that, photo book by a Czech photographer, in a shape that makes it almost impossible to fit on one shelf, and a beautiful copy of First Picture Book, which is Calderon's work and part of the Whitney Museum project. The top shelf, and just more on the other side, is sort of the major bit of Nick's non-archival, non-his manuscript work, which is to say the tip of the iceberg of 650 to 750 volumes, all of which were inscribed to him by the authors when he was interviewing them. Beneath that is Michael Kutch's sort of duo work, in that it can be read in two different directions. Gluttons for Rapture and Defecating Angels, two poems and etchings. Across the top, we have James Sienna's Sequence 1, which is an absolutely brilliant series of prints without text. Leslie Dill's new work, I Had a Blueprint of History. I simply cannot tell you how much I love this. It is one of the most achingly beautiful things I've seen in a long time. The first book from Tupon's Press, Interior Skies, Late Poems. Beautiful little debut work. Russell Banks, illustrated by Barry Mosier, Spirit of the River. Zaff's, Leonard Baskin's work on the type designer Zaff in a binding by Gray Perot. And I may be wrong about the Gray Perot. Don't hold. I think that's actually Claudia Cohen. Coma, which is a beautiful book art piece interpretive piece on Johnny Got Your Gun, which was printed without any commas, about a man who couldn't communicate with the world. And in this case, all of the commas were put in according to Chicago Manual of Style, but all the text was removed. It's printed in silver on black paper, so you end up with constellations of the commas with no text. Just an elegant little piece. Strange Tale of Jekyll and Hyde, which won the Parrott Prize at the Oxford Fine Press Fair a couple years ago. 7 computer landscapes, and Dialogue over a Ouija board, which is Plath and Baskin. This is Waterlines and Orpheus on Sappho's Shore by Michael Kutch and others. It was a collaborative piece, includes music. Very much a reaction. It was done in response to the Katrina disaster. It is stunning. Beneath that, Ars Combinatoria, which is the work of Daniel Mellis, exploring. He's a mathematician who discovered printing, and this is sort of it's a stunning work from exactly that collaboration, if you will, in which he explores how many different ways a single wood block can be printed, sort of maintaining a code as to which sequence and whether inked or uninked the block hit the paper. Next to that is Ronald King's Turnover Darling, which is all sculptural paper, wire and paper. Daniel Moyer's Infinitely Perfect. Across the top, we have Dana Smith, Barbie. We have Mike Taylor's new edition of 3 No Future, which explores if Kurt Cobain had lived and become president. The Hillbilly Kama Sutra, Tom Huck's extraordinarily wonderful work, sort of proof that he is the, if you will, bastard child of Durer and R. Crumb. Carolyn Trantz, Lorca, Sonnets of Love, Sonnets of Dark Love. Trantz pop-up of Who Killed Cock Robin. A couple pieces by Sybil Rubottom, 2 of her water books. I think the 7th book in the series of rewriting of Pilgrim's Progress, Slumburbia. This edition is Slumburbia. It is David Sandlin's Sinner's Progress. Brilliant, wonderful thing. This is Carolyn Trantz's other smaller Who Killed Cock Robin, all woodblock printed, do-si-do. My Pretty Pony, which is another of the Whitney Museum pieces, this being Stephen King and Barbara Kruger collaborating on My Pretty Pony. Starting and sort of quickly skimming, we have a shelf of Russell Murat and Baskin. David Foster Wallace's Consider the Lobster, done by Ascentius Press. A couple pieces by Victoria Bean, This Is Not a Love Thing, which is a fabulous kind of modern adaptation of Harlot's Progress, incorporating tart cards rather, from around London. Prospera ad Astra, which folds out to about 9 meters, one of the great pieces of the time. Little more Kutch, is Falling to Earth. David Esselman's Chili book, which is his award-winning chili recipe, told entirely through prints. Sarah Harvey's Stung, which incorporates both manuscript work, original art, and wasp paper from a deconstructed wasp nest. Rebecca Good's Asters and Goldenrods. Leonard Baskin, beautiful little sketch inscribed in one of his trade books. Peter Bogorsh's remarkable work, The Great Mystery, collaboration with Russell Means. Jun Sugi's In the Beginning, which is called Away 6. Hard to see in the glare, but cut, printed, and painted on metal. Amy Borzos's Labor Movement, in which she explores both movement from a dance perspective and movement on a shop floor. The overprinting is the movement in which the 8 workers she observed, how much they moved during an 8-hour shift. Albert Ernest in the Titanic, which is Distillers Press, Jamie Murphy's work, re-exploring the Titanic story through the life and death of the 2 job printers who worked the ship. Printed partly in ink made from coal brought up from the scene. Claire Luis's Wayfarer to the left. Some more David Moyer and Peter Koch in the center. Ilana Perez towards the back, and another small Baskin. Sex, Death, and the Devil, ranging from a scrapbook of female domination, some club scene material, both Fabulosity and Mirror by Marshall Weber, Little Hans Belmer for fun, Oriana Small's rather brilliant autobiography, Girl Vert, to the left, and some vintage condom packs. As I said, Fabulosity, some catalogs, A Tale to Beat, a wonderful scrapbook on flagellation, if such things, enamor. Great little, very, very funny collection of illustrations, these fucking unicorns. Original Plumbing is pretty much the cornerstone work on Transmail, Transmail's sort of socio-scholarly collection of essays and imagery. Van Golden's Ballad. The Rocknot, which is a sort of in an era when it wasn't okay to print pictures of naked women. It is a tome on how to deflower one's wife on your wedding night, with lots and lots of illustrations, so it's scholarly and not, not a dirty book. Some funny little magazines that stand out for one reason or another. Snatch and Sniff, which is, of course, vagina poems and close-up photographies with scratch and sniff elements, just what you would think it would be. Things like leather and bread from an oven. Death Scenes, Bestiality. Another scrapbook, this one on torture techniques. Baby Doll, which is an interesting association copy of a not hugely well-known a bit of work by Peter Whitehead. Elmer Batter's Sneakers and various other period bits. Paroxysms, which is an interesting. She's Irma Vep, if you're into early vampire films. She's a very interesting French author and actress. Richard Prince's Wives, Wheels, and Weapons. Stunning collection of early erotic photography, 600-700 photographs, sort of golden age, and remarkable collection and scope, and a copy of The Dead, Jack Berman's deluxe edition, actually, of Jack Berman's sort of cornerstone, The Dead. little more book art. Peter Cook's Zebra Noise, and Wakefield's Almost Jerusalem. Little bits of this and that. Mother Goose in Dust Jacket. Early Pirate of Chamber Music by Joyce. First edition of Kipling's Departmental Ditties. The illustrations of Mild Standish is interesting because it appears to be actually the first book printed in this country with mounted photographs, 1859. Fabulous copy of Wasteland. Association copy was owned by Driscoll and is rife with extraordinarily wonderful marginalia. Willa Cather's one of ours. Pushkin cover. E-magazine, important if you're into such things. Arguably the best edition of Fahrenheit 451 done, illustrated by Ralph Steadman. A little tip of the iceberg on Golden Cockerel material, of which I have a huge amount back at home. Across the top here, this corner is War is Trauma, which is a collaborative work between Seeds for Peace and the Iraq Veterans for Peace and Combat Papermakers. And then here, this is, if it's not the last, it's just about the last available copy of the sort of curated collection of Occupy art that was put together by Occuprint, the Occupant Project, and sold as a fundraising effort for the Occupy movement. Claire Louise's The Whiteness, which is her exploration of Moby Dick's, the passage of the whiteness in Moby Dick, printed almost entirely in blind, very, very strong. Etienne Cherdlew, which is the brown short story of a linotype machine that comes to life. A little bit of funny advertising material. Your House is Mine, which is Bullet Space. Bullet Space's sort of cornerstone monumental work around gentrification of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Includes some art that is number one. Significant number of the artists are no longer with us. It was also a response to what was going on in AIDS, etc. And it's simply one of the strongest book art pieces to come out of New York, pretty much ever. Great Skull and Bones ephemera, the Yale Secret Society. Balzac and Jouve, Passion of the Desert. A little bit of funny mixed stuff, again representative of other things that I didn't bring, which is to say natural history material, hunting and fishing material, some extra illustration, and some fine bindings. So that brings us, last but not least, to the front counter. We'll start with Diane Jacobs' Sun Hat and Braun Panties. She spent 3 years collecting slang and derogatory terms for breasts, vaginas, and ladies of pleasure. Letterpress prints them onto paper of different colors. These somewhat match. And then cuts them into strips and weaves the appropriate piece. Caro Claudio on the bottom is a colophon art piece. So it's a letterpress book in a box created by by Pomodoro, the Italian sculptor. Journal de Dames, complete, all of the plates in its original parts. Heat, which is a Joyce Carol Oates piece, again one of the Whitney projects. Beautiful little Dance of Death book art piece. Books in the bottom in a slide-out drawer, where the rest of it is mausoleum. Diane Jacobs' newest work, which is Nourish All Our Relations. Nicest copies of Mushrooms in Their Natural Habitats I've seen, both the book and the viewfinder, and all 33 reels, and a mixed bag of miniatures, which Aidan has spent, as many know, the last 4 years doing. And last but not least, the facsimile work, collaborative work between Russell Moret. It's a facsimile of his Ethelwald, etc., done in collaboration with his wife in 42 lines, in which they did super high resolution images, both of the front and back page, which results in not only a wonderful representation of the work, but if you, I hope, can see it, the back side of the plate pages was reproduced in a way that it ends up looking remarkably like the original, while it is simply photography. Spectacular bit of simulacra. Anyway, that's it. Hope you can come. Bye.